Okay, so I've stitched the die line already. You can't see it, but I can, and that's what matters. So let's do this. I have a tiny scrap of red that is just barely big enough to do this. I'm going to use it up. Okay, and then I'm going to do the white step here. Okay, so here's where I've made a slight modification. I split the red step into 2 steps, the red half circle. So I'm going to do the inside half circle first. Then I'm going to do the yellow dots, or ovals. And I know I'm weird, but I usually hold my thread up on top on my single needle machine here, because it tends to ball up and get messy underneath when I let it go down. I think that's just how my machine is. So I hold it on top and snip it. Okay, so now I have a clear piece of vinyl here. I got it from the remnant bin at Joann's, so I don't remember how thick it is or how much it was or anything. It's fairly thick. I think it's like a medium one. I know that they have lighter than this, but this one seems to work well. I'm going to tape this on the back of the hoop, pretty much the same area that the red is, because that's what you want to see through is the flap. I put it down just slightly lower than the red, about where the white stitch line is. And I'm just going to tape that in place with some painter's tape that I've got here. Oh, that's not even... Okay. Okay, now I'm going to stitch the other part of the red stitch, the other half circle, the outside. Now, I did not split this correctly, or perfectly, because I don't have proper design software. But you'll get the idea of what I did. And there's where I didn't get it split right. There's an extra little stitch there at the end. Okay, so what that stitch did was stitch down the vinyl in the back. Now I'm going to put down the black vinyl on the back. So the first one is good side facing down. And the next one is good side facing up, right directly on top of it. Like this. So for sake of saving thread changes, I'm going to skip over and do band really quick. Cut off a little extra there. Now I'll back up and do the little hole for the strap. Okay, there we have it. Now I do want to show you how I like to cut the opening. for the flap. It's a little bit different, but it's what works best for me to get a fairly smooth line. I'm not great with the X-Acto knife. Okay, so let me tear this out. Okay, so here I'm getting the opening. Okay, so here he is. Okay, so to cut this flap opening here, I like to do just a little tiny snip. You can barely even see, but there's a little tiny hole there. Just big enough to take my seam ripper, and I want the ball of the seam ripper to be able to fit in the hole that I just made. So, the nut was not quite big enough. Try again. Okay, so I got the ball of the seam ripper into my little hole there, and then I just follow this around. And I made my snip too deep, and I'm cutting through the stabilizer too. This works better for me if I don't, but there's my flap. And it has a clear pocket there. So here's one complete. The pocket. So there you have it. Hope that helps. I wanted to show you one more thing. The video before made me think of this. If you don't have a leather punch like this, and you do a lot of snaps, you really need one of these. You just line it up, quick squeeze, and the hole for your snap is made. I have it on the smallest one, the smallest setting, and just a quick squeeze, so easy. And then I can just poke my snaps right through there. It's easier for me than the awl. Just thought I'd throw that out there.